Visit bankeasternct.com, call us at 860-889-7381, or stop by any of our branch locations today. Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank with offices in Norwich, Jewett City, and Plainfield. Member FDIC. Do you, Kasasa?
Hi, my name is Dr. Katina Simmons. I'm the optometrist and the new owner of Grizzled Eye Care, formerly the office of Dr. Joel Zuckerbaum. I would like to welcome you and your family to make an appointment today for an eye exam. Even though the name has changed, we are still providing the same family-friendly eye care as Dr. Z. We are located at 8 North Main Street in Jewett City. You can also find Grizzled Eye Care on Facebook and send us a message. Don't forget that eye exams correlate to your whole body health too. It's not just new glasses and contacts. So come see me, Dr. Katina Simmons, at the all-new Grizzled Eye Care, formerly Dr. Zuckerbaum. Hope to see you soon.
You see the signs everywhere. No alcohol if under 21. No tobacco under 21. No vaping supplies under 21. It's 21 for a reason.
Youth that use alcohol are more likely to engage in other risky behaviors, such as gambling. Learn the warning signs and how to talk to your children about addiction.
It's 21 for a reason. Brought to you by CIRAC and funded in partnership with SAMHSA. Find out more at CIRACCT.org.
Hi, Miranda Mahoney here from Grizzle Pride, your local drug prevention coalition. So, marijuana, now legal in Connecticut, but there are some things you really should know. It's only legal for people 21 and older. And always, always secure your cannabis products like edibles, vape pens, dabs, and of course marijuana in a locking storage container and keep it out of sight and of reach of kids. Kids don't know the difference between a THC edible gummy and a candy gummy you might buy at a store. There's many resources available at grizzlepride.org or our Facebook and Instagram pages. And parents, you are your child's greatest influence. Talk early, talk often about the risks of substance use on their developing brains. Check out grizzlepride.org. grizzlepride.org. grizzlepride.org.
Family owned and operated. That's something you don't hear too often anymore. Highway Campers of Plainfield is now 3 generations in and going strong. If you're looking to upgrade or get your first RV, contact the family that knows RVs, Highway Campers. They'll walk you through the process of finding the right RV for you and can even finance it for you. Visit www.highwaycampers.com and find your home on wheels. After all, home is where you park it. Highway Campers is a proud supporter of Griswold Youth Football.
There are all sorts of advertisements that ask you to shop local. When you think local car service and repair, look to Winton Automotive on North Main Street, Jewett City. When you go to Winton Automotive, you deal directly with the owner, Ken Winton. How's that for peace of mind? Brakes, tires, oil changes, or general maintenance. And Winton Automotive even posts helpful info on Facebook that may prevent costly repairs. Winton Automotive, North Main Street, Jewett City, proud sponsor of Wolverine Baseball on SNSN.
We love the 80s.
The 80s hits the radio forgot about are coming up next.
Sounds wonderful.
SNSN.
No, they're not.
Your community radio.
No, they're not. Live from Main Street.
Mike Minarski and Paul Lash in the morning and 80s all day and night.
SNSN.
Like they always say things that aren't stupid usually. And when they are stupid, it's funny.
What's up, Paul?
Wednesday.
Well, it's better than Monday.
That's true.
You don't like Monday.
No, I don't.
No.
Even though I don't work, I don't like Monday.
But you do like the weather forecast.
Well,
you had one job, Paul.
I know.
One job.
I know. But, even yesterday, it was a nice day, but the damn wind came in and cooled it right down.
Yeah, but you know what? We were used to like 90-degree weather, then all of a sudden it's 65, 70.
Back to where it should be.
And people are like, they're getting colds again. Why? Because the temperatures fluctuate like crazy.
I know.
So what can we expect next couple of days?
Well, what can we expect is right now it's 55 degrees. So it's, it's nice in the sun, so it's not bad. There'll be plenty of sunshine. There'll be some sunshine around today with some mixed clouds. Highs will be somewhere around 70 degrees. Again, we got wind, 10 to 15 miles per hour. For tonight, some clouds, lows around 45 degrees. And of course, for your Thursday, it's going to be mostly cloudy. Highs will be somewhere around 68 degrees. So the wind, again, will continue to blow between 10 to 15 miles per hour. And of course, for Thursday evening, partly cloudy skies will give way to occasional showers later during the night. Lows will be somewhere around 57 degrees. And that's your weather from SNSN. Now, this Wednesday, the middle of the week, 0525, 2022. I mean, the month's almost over.
Yeah.
Holiday weekend coming.
It's crazy. There'll be a parade in the borough of Jewett City.
Yeah.
There'll be a little ceremony, of course, for Memorial Day in Fanning Park.
Fanning Park, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that will be going on.
Yep.
Why's my phone blowing?
Yeah, I don't know how the beach is going to be. I mean, the beach is they open up for good on the weekend, but I think it's going to be kind of crappy on Friday and Saturday. But Sunday, I think it starts to clear. Monday, I think they're saying it's supposed to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So at least Monday, you can get a picnic in.
Hopefully.
Yeah. There's no staying people. A lot of people are going to drive places with the gas prices the way they are.
No, they're pretty crazy.
They're pretty crazy.
They're pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So a little bit after 9 o'clock, we have Brian Lanoue coming in, our 45th District State Rep. We haven't talked to Brian in quite some time.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk to him a little bit after 9 o'clock this morning and get an idea. And we'll talk to him about, his tenure and his 2 terms and at the State House. Yeah. And he's running for a 3rd.
Yeah.
And one thing I do want to ask him is that there's a couple of articles that were published and basically in a lot of shady news kind of places, I guess you could say, fake news kind of places. And it said in the article that Lanoue, along with a couple other representatives, were not going to run anymore.
Oh,
because of the pay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like state reps, they make $28,000 a year. It's a part-time job.
A lot of money.
No, right. And it's like I said, it's considered a part-time job.
They must get, I wonder if they get gas money going back and forth to Hartford.
I don't know. But I have talked to Brian, and Brian says, no, he's running. So.
Oh. Well, I'm sure he's got other things going on besides being a state rep. He can't live on $28,000.
I don't know. I don't know what Brian has for.
I don't know.
I've never asked him, for
Yeah.
what he does for income or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm-
so he will be in probably about 10, 15 minutes or so. We can talk to Brian.
Yeah.
So, yesterday was, we always look for something, to talk about that's relevant, kind of make it into a lighter situation because there's so much heavy stuff that's out there, as far as news and information.
Yeah.
It's not like 1986, where
I know
things are like, well, we're going to send a shuttle up today, and they'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't the best choice but on my phone, his phone went off.
Oh.
But so yesterday was another tragedy.
Yep.
In Texas.
I know. If you look at it, it's almost an exact duplicate of Sandy Hook. Think about it.
The thing that really bugs me is that when they put the numbers out of the people that have died in the Texas shooting from yesterday, it keeps going up. And and they're saying, they're saying at least. So like the latest headlines read at least 19 children.
Yeah.
And then there was the teacher.
Yep.
That got shot multiple times.
Yep.
And then of course the shooter.
And the grandmother.
Okay.
He shot his grandmother before he went.
Oh, that's true. That's right.
And she passed away. The grandmother passed away. Yeah.
So there's 22.
Yeah.
Altogether.
Yeah.
So
like I said,
and it says at least, which means it could be more.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a handgun that he used. He didn't use a rifle, right?
I don't know. I couldn't get past the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
it all comes down to mentally ill. the kid had some issues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that somebody heard this morning there were some red flags on this kid. You know, there were some issues that stood out, but again, nothing was really done about it. But it all comes down to, I mean, you got to think about it. How many, you know, we even saw, I mean, we shouldn't say, but even when recently up in Killingly, the kids were looking for somebody to come in and help them with some mental health issues. And the Board of Ed was kind of like fighting that. Remember, that was like a month or two ago. So the kids are starting to recognize, yeah, maybe we need some. It comes down to mental health. You know, we blame the guns, but you put the guns in the hands of mentally ill people.
Yeah.
That's what happens. You know, somebody in their right mind is not going to go shoot somebody. So it's got to be all related to mentally ill. How this kid got a gun? I don't know. I mean, he's 18 years
18
old.
years old, yeah.
So I guess, and I don't know what kind of gun laws they have in Texas. They're a little bit different than they are here. That's for sure. You can't get a gun here unless you go through a background check. At least a handgun, anyway. If you have a permit or whatever.
How does this 18-year-old, get access to the school? You know, after Sandy Hook and all, you know, other types of incidents at schools.
How did he get in? That's a good
How
question.
did he get in? You know,
Well,
I mean,
know,
everything's locked down. You can't get into Griswold High School.
But that's here.
You know, I understand that, but still, it's Anytown, USA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be anywhere.
I don't know. But I really don't know how this kid got in there. I mean, they may not have been taking the lockdowns as serious as Connecticut has taken it as a result of being in our backyard with Sandy Hook. You know, I think our rules are probably a lot different. Where out there, Texas, they didn't feel it. You know, they didn't feel the impact of Sandy Hook at all. I mean, yeah, did they hear about it? Yeah. Were they concerned about it? I'm sure. But you know, did they take it the same level? Probably not.
I don't know.
You know.
So there, we have a lady in the room who lives in Texas, and her name is Tisha, and she says there are no words right now. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
Oh yeah.
I know what we're feeling in Connecticut
because we felt
and
it
all over. Yeah,
we felt it
with Sandy Hook, right?
Yeah, Sandy Hook.
But still, what about Columbine?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in Colorado.
Yeah.
You know, we felt that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are the people in Texas feeling right now? I mean, this is huge. I mean, unbelievable.
You know where I understand it's
very, unthinkable.
Very small community. There's not very many people who live in this community. It's a very small town. Everybody probably knows everybody. You know, it would be like a town like a Griswold where everybody knows everybody. You know what I'm saying? You know, so it's really tragic that this happened. I mean, it's not only going to affect the kids and the parents, it's all the first responders like here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first responders that went in Sandy Hook, half of them, you know, they took them years to get over this thing. The same thing's going to happen.
Oh,
here.
no. They'll never get over it.
Never get over
They'll
it.
never get over that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't, there are just some things in life, I guess, that you never get over. You just learn to live with them.
And even the news this morning was saying that a lot of the kids will have to be identified via DNA. So that tells you what it's like. Just
there are 2 girls that are still missing.
Oh, they can't find them.
Yeah. So
maybe they're hiding in the school someplace.
I don't know. But let's hope.
Yeah.
That they are.
Yeah.
So, and just afraid to come out.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. So.
So let me ask Tisha, do you work for a school district? Is that she said working for a school district, it's also close.
Oh yeah.
This is what 80 miles or something like that from San Antonio?
Yeah, it's pretty close to San Antonio. Yeah.
So if we
what I understood.
Yeah, she says yes, she works in
it was an agricultural community.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them were agricultural workers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't think it was any kind of a hate crime or anything. I just think it had to do with something the kid has some mental problems, you know.
Tisha says that she works in the school district and she works in she's in the Houston area.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're going to feel it for a long time. Yeah.
It's never going to go away, Paul.
No.
It's never going to go away.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what the gun laws are in Texas. They're a little bit. Anybody can. I mean, you can walk down the street with a handgun. Really,
Well, you can do that anywhere.
Well, here you got to have a permit. You got to have a permit to do it here. And in Texas, you can just have a handgun and just walk down the street with it.
I don't know what.
I don't think there's a permit required.
What the gun laws are in Texas.
They're a little bit more lax than they are here.
But that's going to also bring up the question again of gun laws and people and gun control.
Yeah.
This is going to happen. It's gonna bring up the question again. Do guns kill people or do people kill people?
And we all know it's the latter.
People. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you put the gun in the hand of a person who's mentally ill. They have no idea what the hell they're doing. I believe in background checks. I don't see a reason why you shouldn't get a background check before they give you a gun or have a permit.
Well, she just said that we used to need a concealed handgun license. So are you saying that you don't need that anymore? Victoria, I agree with you. And like I said, I've said this 10 times over. I don't like to use this forum as a personal soapbox. But I'm of the belief that people kill people, not guns, because you said it. You have somebody that's mentally ill.
Yeah. And
they have a gun.
I mean, think about it too. I mean, think of how the country is right now. Just coming out of COVID, everybody was stuck at home. We're in a situation in this country now where if you don't think kids are feeling what their parents are feeling as far as having food on the table, being able to pay for gas, being able to do this because of, the price of everything is so high and not having anything. You don't think this has got an impact on kids. You're crazy.
Yeah.
It does. And they're feeling it. They may not show it, but believe me, because you think parents aren't talking about it in their house?
All right. Bob says, no, you have to have a license in Texas.
Oh, that's good.
But Tish, who lives in Texas, says no.
Well, she would know.
So you two duke it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think she would know, coming from Texas. I would think that she would know coming from Texas.
He says, no, you can't. You have to have a license to have it unconcealed in Texas. Tisha says no.
Oh.
So.
Well, whatever. It happened. It's very tragic.
Yeah. And it just gives you and how much more can we take? I mean, there was Buffalo just last week and a half ago.
That was a hate crime now.
But still,
I know.
Regardless if it was a hate crime or not.
Yeah.
If you're asking me, if you're going to classify that as a hate crime, that guy's still freaking nuts. I don't care.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. You can't. I don't care if it's a hate crime or not. If you're not sane, if you're going to open fire on people.
You're right. It still comes down to a mentally unstable issue. You're right. Exactly.
I don't think there's anybody that can convince me of
it
being different.
Because we all know the difference between right or wrong.
Well, we hope to.
Yeah. So a mentally stable person would know that it's wrong to kill somebody. Where somebody that's mentally unstable, they have no freaking clue.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to mental issues, and it's things that it's been lacked in this country. This country's got away from. I mean, even in Connecticut here, a lot of the mental issues. We used to have a state hospital where people were taken in and they were treated, and then they did away with it because it cost the state too much money. We saw the back of the state hospital down there around Route 12. I mean, that thing was been deserted. What did they do? They let the people out. They were downtown in Norwich, for crying out loud. They have nothing.
Tisha, who lives in Texas, in the Houston area, she says, as of September, Texas no longer requires people to have a license to carry.
So they changed it then. Yeah. Wow.
So anybody can get a gun.
Anybody. So there's no rules. I bet now that's going to change.
Oh, I think there's going to be a lot of things that are going to change.
Yeah.
In the next year or two, because it's going to become a me versus you thing, like it has for the last 4 flipping years, 6 years.
I mean, you can't take guns away from everybody, because there are sports folks out there, who hunt and do all the stuff that's proper.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do? Take away their guns and make them suffer?
Look, I know many people that carry, and they carry concealed, and you'd never know.
No, you never
You'd
know.
absolutely would never know. And honestly, Paul, you and I have been doing this together for 6 years.
Yeah.
I would not know if you carried a gun on you.
I don't have one.
No, but I'm just saying,
I know.
I would not know.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I mean, of all the things we've talked about,
Yeah.
Both professional and personal.
Yeah.
That's just one thing that it hasn't come up. I know people that do.
Yeah.
I know people that come in here that do.
Oh yeah.
And they are concealed. But you know what? They're not wackadoodles.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, you're right. They do have.
See, now here's another point that it's going to get brought up, and this is one of those things that it's going to get fought. Court says, how many video games are based on number of kills?
A lot. That's the issue.
Okay, so now you're going to have an entire group of people that are going to say it is video games that are leading to this. It's not video games.
Yeah,
there's always going to be.
I don't think
something.
I don't think. Give a mentally unstable person a video game but shooting people, then they think it's right. It's okay to do that.
Yeah.
But no, some of the video games are pretty. All they do is shoot and kill. That's the whole thing. You're absolutely right. I mean,
well, this is a conversation.
We've said that for years.
Yeah, this is a conversation that we're going to go ahead and continue on another day, just because we have other issues, and I really don't want to, just continue with this horrible story. Even though it's there, it can't be ignored.
Yeah. But
we do have other pressing issues right now to move on, and other relevant topics. And one of them is Brian Lanoue is here, and he's been waiting gracefully in the other room, in the green room.
In the green room. Well, I hope he's enjoying those.
Do we
snacks.
have a green room? Yeah, the snack. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got there's lobster omelets out there for Mr. Lanoue,
and I hope Mary's helping him out very well.
Yes.
Keeping him company.
So we are going to be back in a minute. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be joined by 45th District Representative here in the state of Connecticut, Brian Lanoue, right here on SNSN.
Did you know that Allstate Insurance, the Trahan agency, has 2 offices now, Plainfield and East Lyme? And that's good news for you, since Kevin Trahan has been in the insurance business for well over a quarter of a century. Plus, he's easy to find. Just search in any browser, Kevin Trahan, Allstate Insurance. And when you get to his Facebook page, you'll find tons of helpful information on questions you may not even have thought to ask. Allstate Insurance, Trahan Agency, Plainfield and East Lyme, proud sponsor of Griswold Youth Football.
Hi, I'm Harry, the Tooth Fairy. Or at least I used to be the Tooth Fairy. Business was great, but people started discovering Griswold Dental. Dr. Norman Katzoff and his staff can do things to help you keep your teeth longer. It's enough to make an old Tooth Fairy cry. Griswold Dental can do all the work in-house. Imagine a new crown in 2 hours. They even know how to make dental anxiety go away. They even have a laser that can help with your gums. Griswold Dental will make you want to smile again. They can restore, clean, and help prevent all those problems that keep me in business. Dr. Katzoff and his staff will make you feel like family. They're friendly, and you'll be comfortable. Contact Griswold Dental today and set up an appointment. 860-376-2624. 860-376-2624. Griswold Dental, 87 Slater Avenue, Jewett City. Tell them the Tooth Fairy sent you.
Hi, this is Lisa Griffin of Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank. Well, some banks offer checking account rewards, and some banks rebate ATM withdrawal fees. At Eastern, we say, why choose? Check out our Kasasa checking accounts and find out how you can get both. For more information, visit bankeasternct.com, call us at 860-889-7381, or stop by any of our branch locations today. Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank with offices in Norwich, Jewett City, and Plainfield. Member FDIC. Do you, Kasasa?
And now, here's something we hope you'll really like.
Online and on the app.
Eastern Connecticut's sports leader.
SNSN.
All right. Good morning. Welcome back to the program, everybody. And now we are being joined with, let's fix the screen here. There we go. Oh, look. Can't even see Brian's head. Wait a minute. Let's do it.
You can take
Some
my...
people might think that's a good thing. So.
We just said, off with your head. Oh, there he is. He's back. How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. Nice to see you. It has
time.
been a little bit. It's good. Very good to see you both.
Yeah.
It's good to see you too.
Wow.
So, I know you wanted to go ahead and mention the Texas tragedy, and you wanted to say a piece on that. So,
yeah, before we start, I just want to mention that obviously want to offer my condolences to all the families that lost children and loved ones yesterday. It was a horrible tragedy, and the police are still obviously trying to put all this together, gather all the information to see exactly what led up to this, and so we're going to have to wait and see. I think from a public policy standpoint, we need to get the facts together first, and but I do want to offer my sincere condolences, and I just be mindful to everybody that this time yesterday there were 19 mothers and fathers that sent their children off to school, and that was the last time they saw them alive, and that was less than 24 hours ago. So let's be mindful of that, and let's continue to invoke God and prayer. I think that's the most powerful weapon we have, and certainly more than any man or any politician or woman out there. So we need to bring God in the equation here and work towards a culture of life. And I'll leave it at that for right now.
Yeah, I mean, this conversation, can go 20 different ways to Sunday right now, but I think it needs to, stay really what you brought up with condolences and stuff like that. People need to heal. People aren't never going to heal, just like Columbine and just like Sandy Hook, and of course, the public shooting in Buffalo recently in the last week and a half. So anyway, it's a very difficult situation. Very difficult. All right, before we get into all the nuts and bolts I had mentioned to you, there was something that I had talked to you about on the phone, and through messaging, which was I read an article, and it said Brian Lanoue and there were two other representatives that they were also named, but honestly, I only remember your name. That said we're not going to run in this coming election, and they stated was because of the pay, and I remember saying to you, Brian, are you running? And you said that you were absolutely running. So I'm like, all right, so I want to give you the floor and then give you, to say, clear that crap up.
Sure, I appreciate that, Mike. First of all, it was a statewide newspaper. And that's our lovely media for us. Present company excluded, of course. But
of course.
There was a statewide newspaper, and my chambermate in the chamber, Dave Wilson, is not running again.
Okay.
And so we during one of the opening sessions where we stood for the pledge and prayer before the day commenced, there was somebody took a picture of myself and Dave and Tammy Zawrotowski, a state rep from up in northern Connecticut. Central Connecticut was directly behind us in the chamber. So the Dave being one of the reps that was not running again, the article was about that.
Gotcha.
However, it's showing the caption, the three of us, and it certainly gave the impression that we were me and Tammy, in addition to Dave Wilson was not running again. If you read the article, clearly my name was not mentioned as far as not running again, but certainly gave that perception. When I first saw the title of the article with my picture, I said, "What the hell's going on here?" So, so I'm sorry if I broke anybody's heart by saying I am running again. I'm
That's
actively
fake
running.
news.
Definitely misleading news. So, but yes, I'm very. I'll be honest with you. I love serving the people of this district of the 45th, and the new 45th. The lines have changed.
Can you talk about that? And that's recently changed because I know the Senate districts changed as well. But as far as the 45th, how did it change for you?
Now, as you know, every 10 years, the U.S. Census takes place. They count all the people's heads, and to make sure we have an adequate count of the people. And the state house districts like the 45th and the other 150 districts are carved out based on population of roughly 25,000 people. So unless people have moved, and unless nobody's moved or nobody else has been born, or so on and so forth,
It would all stay the same.
Which of course that doesn't happen.
Right.
So they started in the western part of the state, moved east. Of course, I'm in the far east, and with the numbers changing, with the populations changing, I ended up losing roughly about half my district, half the population. So, with a very heavy heart, I'm losing Sterling and Plainfield, two towns and communities and residents who've been absolutely wonderful to me. I've built up a wonderful relationship with, and I compare it to almost breaking up with a long-term girlfriend. But rest assured, it's definitely somebody I'm going to stay in touch with and advocate for, even though I may not be there.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you're not going to advocate and be there for them and stuff like that. So you're going to have what? Griswold?
So I still have all of Griswold. I have Southern Lisbon. The southern part of Lisbon. I have all of Allentown. Very happy I kept Allentown. And I picked up Preston. The entire town of Preston, which is my boyhood home. That's where I grew up. And
the Fay grad?
And the Fay grad, you bet. Go Wildcats. Of course, we can't forget about the Wolverines either, though. They're close to my heart. And also now the Colonels. The
Ledyard
Colonels. I have a part of Ledyard. Yes, I have Ledyard Center, and I have Gales Ferry, a good part of Gales Ferry. So I got down there starting to talk to folks as well. So, when I was campaigning last cycle, we were up on Econ Hill, which is on the Sterling Valentine line. And I remember it was a really hot day, one day specifically, and the volunteer who was with me when we were driving around made a joke and said, "I think you can see the ocean." And he's like, "Yeah, right. You can't see the ocean from your district, right? Because we're very rural, very inland."
Right.
Now, being in Gales Ferry, literally, I can see the ocean in my district. So
are you going to walk into Ledyard and adjust your pants and go, "I'm in charge now"? it's kind of like working in retail, and here comes a new district manager.
I never really never view myself as being in charge. I kind of view myself as the guy who may be steering the wheel of the ship for a period of time, voters providing how long that's going to be. But listening to folks and listening to people back home, and they're really the ones who are the store manager. They're the ones who are really articulating the message, brought forth a lot of the issues and topics and things that we were able to get past the last 2 years now. This session that were positive. Obviously, there's a lot of things that got passed that are not so positive, and we can talk about that as well. But really, the credit for the wins, for the successes, I really attribute to the folks of the 45th. Those people who very kindly and with open arms welcomed me in their homes and front porches, and just those discussions we've had over the last 2 and 4 years.
So you are just finishing up. We're going to be finishing up with your second term, your third term. You're running for. Let's talk about some of the accomplishments that you've had in the House, and I know you have a list of things that you want to mention. Yeah. So I'm going to just toss it on over to you and talk about what are some of your proud accomplishments being in the 45th. in the House? And what do you plan on doing going forward, or what kind of platform moving into your third term?
Yeah. Thank you for that, Mike. Yeah, one that was near and dear to my heart. We talked about it for many times. Was the background checks for camp counselors, children's camp employees, people who are staying with our children for weeks at a time, or really assuming the roles of parents when kids are away for that period. And we want to know who these people are. And we want to make sure there's uniformity in those background checks. We have a good, solid background check. It was not required previously under Connecticut law. It now is. We work together in a bipartisan fashion. And I'm very, very proud of that bill that I introduced. We got some of the most conservative to some of the most liberal members of both chambers came together. And we got this passed. We did it, and we came together as a chamber. It was a great moment. I think it was a good moment for Connecticut. It's great for our children, and hopefully our kids will be a little bit safer. And we have the camp industry also came on board. I was happy about that, and it will now be part of the OEC inspection process when they inspect the camps. Make sure that there was the background check done before the counselor or employee gets access to the children. So I think that's very
that's
important.
more important now than it ever was.
I believe so. I believe so, certainly. And it is a crazy world out there. We see a lot of horror stories, unfortunately. But this, I think, will go a long way to add an extra layer and tier of protection. So very, very proud of that.
I know you worked on that for a very long time.
We did. And credit to certainly a lot of people, especially upstairs in the Senate. Senator Heather Summers and Senator Kathy Austin, for example, both supported and helped shepherd that through upstairs. Remember, I'm a House member. You have to get it through the House and the Senate. So we relied very heavily on the Senate as well to make sure they pushed it. Paul Formica, who's retiring, also I recall did a lot to really give it a push, a good push in the Senate as well. So I was very grateful for that bipartisan support from the Southeastern Connecticut delegation, both again in the House and in the Senate, and so I was very happy about that. Pilot funding with the pilot acronym payment in lieu of taxes. As you know, the town of Voluntown, awesome town. 70% of the landmass in the town of Voluntown is owned by the state of Connecticut. And they received very little money in way of compensation from the state. The state does not pay property taxes like you or I would if we owned that same amount of property. And the town is grossly underfunded. And there was a new pilot formula that came out. It was a 3-tier formula where towns would be placed to 1 to 3 tiers. Originally, in the new formula, Voluntown was in tier 2. I worked very closely with Tracy Hansen as well as Heather Summers, and were able to get that. I got moved into tier 1. So Voluntown, as far as reimbursement, would be under the top tier, and they're included in the same tier as Bridgeport and Hartford and New Haven, and Voluntown and Stanford. So it's our big cities in Voluntown. So I was very, very proud of that, and we have a lot of work to do. I think the town of Voluntown is going to pick up an additional $175,000 a year under the present funding percentage, but we got a lot more work to do. The way they assess a lot of the land, the state assesses the land, is problematic. So we're going to have to continue to work on that. So the answer to your second part of the question, this is still a work in progress, but finally we had some good news as far as the state finally recognizing the importance of Voluntown, not just to the people of Voluntown, but really to the entire state and region. Many people from across the entire state travel to Voluntown for the forest and for Beach Pond and to vacation and recreate. And when emergency arises and they need assistance, it's the Voluntown resources and the people of Voluntown that the entire state relies on when those residents from across the state are vacationing. So I'm very grateful that the state finally recognized Voluntown for what it is with such a special place that it is.
A lot of forest.
Yep. A lot of forest, a lot of recreation, a lot of trails, a lot of terrain. And when an emergency happens in one of these, in that kind of terrain, you think about all the extra that needs to go into responding to those type of emergencies. You need your ATVs and boating rescues on the water,
helicopters.
You
never know how deep are you in the forest,
and that expense, most of that expense is put back on the backs of the people of Allentown. So this is a way of at least recognizing the need for funding for Allentown, that additional funding. We got that. I think it was the extra 175,000. They're getting about 310,000 now a year, but there's more that needs to be done. We need to make sure they're adequately the value of the land is adequately assessed to make sure they're properly and appropriately funded.
Work's never done.
Never done. The world's always changing. Things are always happening, and of course we have to respond appropriately. That's the responsibility of legislation and legislating and representing. The crisis initiative started off right here.
I was hoping you'd mention that.
Right where we're standing. I'm very, very proud that Griswold was the original pilot community right here in Jewett City for crisis, bringing together a mental health clinician, embedding them right in with state police, working together, the mental health and police. It's a great initiative. It had a lot of success here in Griswold. Got expanded throughout the Troop E region of Eastern Connecticut, and last year we successfully got that expanded into Northeastern Connecticut, up into Troop D. So our state police will also be up there. Will be CIT certified or in the process of getting that crisis intervention training. Local police departments can and have latched on to this as well, namely Putnam and Plainfield. Diane Manning, who is the Mental Health Authority Director for United Services up in Northeastern Connecticut. That's her catchment zone. She's done a great job rolling out a crisis in that region in such a short period of time, working with our police. She's done great work, and we got additional year of funding for that expansion up into Troop D. Again, I had co-introduced legislation to preserve that funding with Representative Howard, who's the ranking member of Public Safety, as well as Greg Howard. Yep, a good friend of mine, great guy. By the way, he was very helpful in the background check bill as well.
He's a police officer himself.
Yeah, he's a police detective in Stonington. Yep. So unfortunately, one of his duties as a detective is investigating crimes against children. Yep. He also runs a youth football program.
I'm well aware.
So he background checks was and is part of his program, and he was able to speak in that in depth, during the Children's Committee hearing, which was an invaluable resource. A guy with both those backgrounds being able to speak to what needed to be done. So he signed on to keeping the funding as the ranking member of the Public Safety Committee. Kathy Austin as the chair, and also I want to give credit to May Flexer and Rick Hayes up in Northeastern Connecticut, who also got on this legislation and helped support it. Again, a bipartisan effort. People, our legislators recognizing the value where it was Republicans and Democrats. There are other issues that we may disagree on, and we're going to have those disagreements, and we get into the election cycle. We will have those.
You'll have those discussions at that point.
We're going to have those discussions and debates. But I'm very, very proud about this issue. People of the legislators of Eastern Connecticut coming together on this. Those really, folks specifically.
You going to say something?
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I like the way that you mentioned, you use the word bipartisan, and how you are proud of that, where people, across, different parties can come together on different issues and that. So I think that's you don't get that a lot.
No.
And when you do, that's a big win for the residents of Connecticut.
And that's who benefits.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly proud of that. The work we've done in this respect. And this is certainly crisis is a model example of bringing together our mental health communities, our law enforcement communities, working together, helping identifying and trying to get the person into the appropriate treatment plan. I think I'm not going to get into this too much, but under the present circumstances, I think we need that relationship more than ever.
Yeah.
And I'm also very proud to report, as of I think last night, there was a bill 5485. There is a section in there that to help strengthen crisis, particularly in northeastern Connecticut, but really in eastern Connecticut in general, and that's the licensure portion, where right now, if a mental health professional who is CIT certified, that we spoke about, crisis intervention training certified, they're part of a crisis mobile team, crisis mobile outreach, crisis response, and they have all those other certifications. When they respond to a client or respond to a situation, if they feel there's a need for an emergency certification where the person needs to go to the hospital for mental health evaluation, right? Under the as of yesterday,
last night,
APRNs and licensed clinical social workers could write that certification, contact the ambulance, write the certification, have them go to the hospital and get the evaluation by the medical. Now,
before it was just a doctor, right?
No. It was APRNs and licensed clinical social workers. A doctor has to do only a doctor can do a committal.
Okay.
A medical doctor. Now, also, there's licensed clinicians, professional clinicians, and licensed marriage and family counselors, who also are certified. But yet, when they go to meet with one of their clients, if they do the evaluate, if they feel the person needs to go to the hospital, they would have to have contacted the police, and the police officer has to respond. And they say to the police officer, I need to do there needs to be an emergency certification. Then the police officer has to do it, because under the old statute, they weren't the statute in the law didn't allow them to do that.
Gotcha.
Even though the training for that type of certification is exactly the same. So we were able to, and you think of like northeastern Connecticut, for example. You take Troop D, right? You have Canterbury down in the southern part of the Troop D region. You got Thompson way up north. If a police officer has to get dispatched to a mental health call where there's really no need, there's no law enforcement part to it, where the person, there's no crimes that are committed, they have to respond to that, and then there could be another emergency that breaks out in Thompson, for example. That's a very long ways. Yeah. There's a big spatial disparity there. So this frees up our police to be able to do what they do best, and that's law enforcement work. And this brings these additional licensures under that statute, so they can do the emergency certification as well.
I just want to let you know, because I know you said you have a meeting you have to get to. It's 9:33, so I just want to see where you are on time and stuff. So.
I can give you. I can do probably another 10 minutes.
Okay, that's cool. I just wanted to make sure you knew, so that way you know. All right, so where we? What's next? What's next on the?
That's good. Something I was very upset about. I was not happy with our state budget adjustment that we came up with as a legislature that we voted on, and it raises spending by 6.7% to be exact. Creates a lot of new government spending, a lot of new government programs, and namely $2 million for free airfare to Jamaica. They're paying for
what?
Yeah, meditation gardens, free healthcare for illegals who come into this country, and the requirement to provide menstrual products in all boys' bathrooms in every school in this state.
Boys' bathrooms
for
the transgenders?
The requirement is for menstrual products in all boys' bathrooms. So I'll leave it at that. I think that's certainly obviously problematic, but all this was included in the state budget adjustment. What was not included?
Airfare to Jamaica.
Airfare to Jamaica.
What was that for?
Well, yeah.
Great question. So not sure. I'll check, see if you're eligible. Maybe I'll get you a ticket down there.
Yeah.
But what's not included, and what I'm very angry about, is our volunteer firefighters and ambulance members. Right, that we have them here in Griswold. We have them throughout my district. In the 5 towns. I spoke to Chief Holowati, matter of fact, this past week. I was very honored this past weekend. I want to give a shout out to Pete Dameron specifically, who a fireman, a volunteer fireman, and also a hero. We gave out a hero citation to him. He was driving a town dump truck up in Willimantic, saw a structure fire. There was a man waving out his window with flames of fire behind him. He thought very quickly. Backed the truck up, saved the man's life. So he is a hero. He is a Griswold hero, and he was very honored to give him a citation. But like Chief Holowati had mentioned, there's 18. They have 18 volunteer firefighters. Voluntown had reached out to me a couple of years ago. One of the mechanisms they use to attract volunteers is offering an annual stipend to our volunteers. You're not getting rich off of it. The average check is probably $1,500 a year. That helps to pay for the gas, to get to the scene or get to the firehouse. You have to make so many meetings, respond to so many calls, do some certification, and they give these incentive checks. The towns pull a 1099 on them, so much of the check is eviscerated through state taxes, state and federal taxes. We had a bill that would essentially exempt Connecticut state taxes from these incentive checks, from these stipend checks.
Right. That would make sense. Why tax somebody that's doing something for our communities?
Last year, we got it through 2 committees. It went to the House calendar. We got it through Public Safety unanimously, went through the Finance Committee unanimously, and it was not called. This year, we reintroduced it again, a strong bipartisan effort. We got it through Public Safety. It went to the Finance Committee. The chair of the Finance Committee refused to call the bill and refused to pass the bill out of that committee, and it died there. His reasoning for it was because it was going to add to the state debt. That's his argument. That's almost
Who is this person?
He's actually running for to be your state controller, Sean Scanlon. Right.
He probably lives in a town where it's all paid firemen.
Well, and he said the OFA projection was we're going to lose $175,000 a year in revenue. And this is where you're drinking the water too much in Hartford. Something's going on here, right? We're losing people. People are dropping off. The chiefs are telling me after they get the people get whacked with this tax, they're leaving. They're leaving volunteer service. They're leaving the fire service. They're leaving the ambulance service. It's insult on injury, right? They're leaving. That $175,000. Guess what? We're going to lose a good amount of that anyways, because we're not going to keep retaining these people, right? What do you think is going to if we don't have volunteers? What do you think is going to happen? We're going to go to a paid fire service, a paid ambulance service.
Costs you a hell of a lot more then.
What do you think is going to happen to property taxes? Well, and I was mentioning that to some of these to the members of leadership. Again, the bill was not called because they were afraid of losing $175,000, but yet they've increased the state budget by 6.5%. It's good enough for plane tickets to Jamaica.
We go to Jamaica.
It's good to fund healthcare for illegal immigrants, but not to support our first responders. Everyone's talking about our frontline workers. We owe them so much because of what they did with COVID, and I agree with that. Here's one small thing we can do, and we can't get that right as a state. So as you know, I don't quit.
Yeah.
We're going to bring this back, and I'm extremely angry. I was extremely upset with what happened with this. How you cannot give these men and women, these fine men and women of these fire and ambulance departments that stipend. You can't take that step. So we're gonna work very hard on that. Hopefully the numbers get closer, and we can get the Republicans take the majority. Let's get Bob Stefanowski in there as governor and get us across the finish line.
One quick question, and this is just Dave, who is actually he's not in our district. He's in Hamden. He wants to know, going back to the feminine hygiene products. why can't they just put them? And I don't know if you can speak to this or not, but anyway, I'm going to ask anyway. Why can't they put the feminine hygiene supplies in the nurse's office? Instead, like I said, I don't know if you can speak to that or not, or whatever. But why can't they do that instead of putting it in the boys' room?
I mean, it certainly would make sense. But to to extrapolate on this for a little bit, just this is where I'm concerned. They took away essentially a mental health professional can talk to your son or daughter for an unlimited amount of times, and you're not even going to be notified or notified of that as a parent. That's a law that was passed by the state legislature last year in 21. Now, this being included in the year 2022, just think of what could happen. Right. First of all, I want to be clear. We have a lot of great mental health professionals. We have a lot of great mental health professionals and counselors that are in the schools that do wonderful, wonderful work. But all it takes is one wingnut, right? That let's say there's let's just say a 6 or 7-year-old little boy, right? That goes into a boys' room, finds one of these hygiene products, and asks a question, a legitimate question: "What is this? What's this for?" And is curious. And doesn't know. They end up going to see a particular counselor. That person could be now say, you know what? They could classify them as having gender identity issues, and have a discussion about gender identity, and have several conversations with them about that. And you're not even being told as a father. I'm not being told. Our mothers and fathers are not being informed. Those conversations are even happening. That's what's going on. That's what's been passed in Hartford as part of the agenda and attack on parental rights.
See, we're not hearing about this stuff.
Yeah,
we never hear about this.
Well, I've been quite vocal on it. We need to do more, certainly as a party, to articulate that. But this is what's happening. This is what's going on in our state. This is what's being passed piece by piece, and these are the consequences. This is literally what can now happen with these two different laws being passed, or these two different initiatives getting put in place.
At least we can go to Jamaica
for free.
Yeah,
and go to a meditation garden on your dime. So, on a lot of these issues, we can either, I suppose, we can laugh or cry. Some of I'm doing a lot of both, but we need to speak out, and we need to do more. We need to get. And you're absolutely right. We need to get the message out there.
First time we hear about this.
People need to know about it. We need, and that has to be the Four Corners plan, and restoring parental rights, and we've seen that time and time again over the last 2 years.
Wow!
Yikes! As a comment, Paul says, Paul looks absolutely disgusted at all this.
I am. I mean, those three things are like ridiculous. No, never heard about it. Never mentioned in a paper, nothing. I never saw it anywhere that I see that.
And I'll throw another one out. And this is what's going to happen if we keep going with the leadership that we have in Hartford, with the Democrats in control of both chambers, and with such huge numbers. I believe it was in 2017. This was before my time in the legislature. There was a bill that was introduced that if you homeschool your child, if you choose to homeschool your child, you need to be subject to a DCF inspection, right? The bill, the numbers are very close in the legislature during that period, and it went nowhere, fortunately. In 2021, we took away the religious exemption for childhood vaccines. So a parent cannot exempt their child from the scheduled vaccines or future vaccines, whatever they may be. There is no longer that parental check and exercise of religious exemption. What many, many parents have done is starting to homeschool their children. Marty Looney, who's the Senate President Pro Tem, that's the head person in the state Senate, actually alluded that people who are choosing to now homeschool their children and to continue to exercise their parental choice to maybe exempt their child from one or several vaccines is a form of child abuse and abuse and neglect. And that's why we have DCF to check these things out. So you can see where this is going to be going. I would lay big odds that if after the next election and the next term, the next cycle, if the numbers don't change after November, I think we're going to see that bill again. So that's why it's so important to get the message out, restoring parental rights, advocating for parental rights, and where we need to turn the ship around here, and we need to do it quickly.
Well, one thing I do hope is that before the election actually goes down in November, that you do come back. We speak, and you can get your word out. Once again, we're a fan of you here. And it's you're running for a third term. I honestly don't even know who you're running against, to be honest with you. And that's another story for another day. But I just want to let you know, David, who's in the New Haven area, said New Haven, Hartford, and this I believe this to be true because we've talked about it too. The big four, right? New Haven, Bridgeport, Hartford, and Danbury. As long as New Haven, Hartford, and Bridgeport keep voting Democrat, we will never change anything in Hartfard.
Right.
That's what Dave says.
Yeah, we even talked about having Eastern Connecticut and Southern Connecticut. We wanted to split.
Yeah,
we wanted to have our own governor.
Well,
we want to secede from the nation.
Let me just speak to that if I may. Then I do have to run. David is correct, and that's something historically our party has done a lousy job at going into the cities, articulating the message, saying what we stand for. Mm-hmm. You have the Democrats there defining who we are as a party, who we are as individuals, but yet we're not there defining who we are ourselves, and that's our fault. And I'll give credit to Bob Stefanowski. He's doing a great job going into the cities, making this 169 town and city race, and getting the platform out there. Others need to join him, and we need to make it a 169 town strategy, and run as one Connecticut. And people are just people, and we need to absolutely get into the cities and deliver that message and perform better in the cities. I agree with David on that. Mm-hmm. And Mike, I just want to say again, I really want to thank you for the years that you've supported me legislatively, helping get the message out. Really the community service you have given to this town. There's nowhere that I go. There's whether it's the light parade or the Great Griswold get together where I don't see Mike Minarski, I don't see SN.
We're always there.
You are always there. You're omnipresent, my friend, and it's great to see you. And I'll absolutely be back soon, and we will continue to talk this summer and get the message out.
I really appreciate you saying that, but I will say I remember when you ran for your first term, and we were over at the golf course, and you gave your first victory speech, and you were like, "What the hell just happened?" kind of thing. And I've watched you become, a junior representative, and now there's just fire in that belly, and it's just you're ready to go. So congratulations. We'll be looking forward to a third term with Mr. Lanoue. So
great seeing you, buddy.
You too. Take it easy,
Mr. Paul. Always a pleasure.
All right.
Bye-bye.
And after all this is said and done,
I'm going to the garden.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Jamaica after all this.
We're gonna go to the garden.
Thanks, Brian. All right, it's Brian Lanoue, our state representative out of the 45th district, as he said that the districts are going to go ahead and be realigned.
Yep.
So he's going to be losing some people. Victoria says that they're going to miss him up in Voluntown, but he's going to get picked up in Ledyard and in Preston.
Yep.
So a little bit of a realignment there. I guess. Ryan, I didn't see this, but when is the state going to mandate the monkeypox vaccine? Jerk. David, obviously not a fan of Martin Looney. So there you go. So, all right. Interesting show, man. All over the gamut today, when it comes to politics and theory and emotion, with just everything that's going on in the world. And, hopefully, moving forward at some point. We've had so much, Paul. We've had so much, and it's affected so many people in this world, in this state, in this area, as far as their own mental health is concerned, as far as what beliefs are. There are fights between best friends. There are fights in families. There are fights within siblings coworkers about what is right and what is wrong. It never happened.
No.
40 years ago.
That's what they want.
35, 40 years ago.
The whole idea is to create chaos.
Yeah.
They want people fighting against one another. That's exactly what they're looking for. That's what you think. Don't think that's being man. That's what's being done. They want chaos.
I mean, you've got mothers and sons battling. You got fathers and daughters battling.
That's what they want.
Over whatever. You know what? It doesn't need to be that way.
No.
And if we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about, what kind of headphones are still. If we're going to sit around and we're going to talk about, all of our things that we have gone wrong in our lives, look at what's going on a national basis.
Well, what even go
and then all of a sudden you look and say, oh, you know what? Maybe things can change because everything is just outwardly crazy in the rest of the world with serious problems.
Big time.
Like Texas, Columbine, Buffalo, Sandy Hook.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
I never thought I'd see another Sandy Hook. It's kind of like a one-time thing, but if you think about it, it kind of mimics it.
Just keep Alex Jones out of there.
No.
So.
I mean, it actually mimics Sandy Hook.
All right, we're going to be out of here tomorrow. It looks like it's going to be me flying solo. Nobody can hear me.
You can do it.
No, you want to come in tomorrow?
I don't know. I gotta.
Yeah, you're thinking of some sort of crappy lie.
No,
you're retired. You ain't getting nothing.
I don't know if my lunch is still on. I'm going to the garden. I gotta find out where that garden is.
What is it called?
He said that it's a garden you can go in and relax. I gotta find out where that garden is.
Yeah. Well, let me know.
And I got what airlines is they handling the Jamaica tickets? Do you have to call Southwest?
Jamaica Air.
I don't know. I got to find out about that.
I don't know, Paul. You Jamaica me crazy. Anyway. All right. We are out of here. Thank you very much, everybody, for participating in the shindig today. We'll see you tomorrow. Who knows who's going to be my co-host? Could be Paul.
Could be.
Maybe it'll be somebody else. We'll find out right here on SNSN. Have a great day.
There are all sorts of advertisements that ask you to shop local. When you think local car service and repair, look to Winton Automotive on North Main Street, Jewett City. When you go to Winton Automotive, you deal directly with the owner, Ken Winton. How's that for peace of mind? Brakes,